Hello, hello, good evening. It's Monica from Life is Art, and it's Wednesday. Let's create. This evening, we are going to be making a horizontal Z fold card, and we are going to be using some of the Mix-in paper collection from the current January February catalog. We're going to be looking at one of the pretty patterns from the mix-ins. We're also going to be looking at one of my favorite stamp sets. Let me just find it here. Do, 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 do. Well, you're going to get to see some stamp sets while I search for the one I want to show you. There we go. We're going to be looking at the legendary stamp set on this card. So if you're joining me live, just say hello or howdy so I know you're here. And if you're watching later on replay, you can just say replay. And I'm just adjusting here so that I can see your comments if you're joining me. And in order to be able to comment on the YouTube live, you need to log into YouTube with your Gmail account, is what I have been informed. So go ahead and do that, and then you'll be able to chit-chat with us as we create. I see that my mom is here watching. Hello, Mom. And Deborah is here as well. Hey, Deborah, good evening. Good evening, Heather. Nice to see you all watching. Now, this card that I'm going to be making this evening was inspired by a post that I saw on Instagram from Gina K Designs. And so that's where I got my inspiration from. And that is always exciting when you see interesting things that people have created and it inspires you to create something of your own. Now, like I said, we're going to be using the legendary stamp set. This is a really fun one. Sorry, I've got hiccups. I just finished eating my supper, and now I've got the hiccups. And of course, I love cows. So you know that the cows were just going to have to jump in my cart when they became available, and so they did. So we're going to be starting out with a card base. We're going to create our own. And for this, we need a piece of white daisy cardstock. That's what I'm using. You could use colored cardstock. But my white daisy is 11 inches by 4 1/4, and that's going to ensure that our completed card will fit inside a standard 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card envelope. The envelopes are always a little bit bigger, but you know what I'm talking about, a standard envelope. So I've cut this to 11 by 4 1/4, and the easiest way to do this is just skip the scoring and just fold your card in half and line it up like so. Give it a bit of a crease. You can use your bone folder or the handle of your scissors to give that an extra little squish. Now I want my fold to be on the left side, so we're going to open this way, but this is a Z fold card, and in order for it to be a Z fold card, it's got to come back. So we're going to take this top front cover of our card and we're going to fold it back on itself so that the end lines up with the fold, our center fold, and crease it back like that. Lovely. So now we have that Z. See, there's our Z. We're in Canada, so it's a Z fold. If you're somewhere else, maybe you call it a Z fold, but that creates our Z. So there we go. Our card will open like that. It's a very simple fold, and quite often we do this kind of fold with a standard size card, so it's going this way, and we fold it off to the side, but I thought it'd be fun to do this horizontal one, and of course I was inspired by that Instagram post that I saw. Now for the pattern papers that we're using, like I said in the introduction, we're going to be using the Mix-in pattern paper, and we're using this particular pattern for the whole card, and it is a ballerina, so it's a very light pink little plaid, and it's got lots of little lines in the design. I don't know, I can't see how well you're seeing this on the screen, but it's a really pretty ballerina light plaid, very pale. So if I put this on my card like this, it kind of disappears. So we need something to kind of bump it up and have a little bit of distinction from that white daisy background. So these two pieces of pattern paper have been cut to 2 inches by 4 inches. So in order to give it a little bit of oomph, I've also cut 2 pieces of Bluebird cardstock, and these are 2.5 by 4 inches. Sorry, that's not going to be right. This is 2.5, but this has got to be 2.25. I'm like, how is there a ½ inch difference? Let me write that down before I forget that that is 2.25. You gotta love it when you make a boo-boo on your instructions, because then I'll go ahead and I'll type them in and then they'll be wrong there too. So our pattern papers are 2.25 by 4 inches, and our Bluebird cardstock are 2. I changed the wrong thing. That's okay. I'll fix that later. These are 2.5 by 4 inch, and the pattern paper is 2.25 by 3.25. Actually, I had it right. I was reading the wrong thing. My goodness. So 2.5. Now I got to correct that back. I was actually reading a different dimension for a different piece of paper. Gotta love it. So what we're going to do is we're going to layer these one on top of the other. And then when we add that to our white daisy cardstock, that really gives it a boost. It really makes it pop off of our card. So let's go ahead and we're going to do that. We're going to attach our Ballerina Mix-in pattern paper. Now let's see if I can get the measurements right. That is 2.25 by 3 3/4. 2.25 by 3 3/4. Now we've got it right. I had the other measurement wrong too. I tell you, this is why I write down the measurements at the end. So, Ballerina, 2.25 by 3 3/4. And we're attaching it to our Bluebird cardstock that is 2.5 by 4. 1/4 inch difference. That's why those numbers were not lining up. I actually had them correct. I was just reading the wrong ones. Okay, now we're going to attach these. Sorry, I'm probably working half out of the screen here. We're going to attach these to our card base. Let's get our adhesive on there. This is actually, this part of the card is actually pretty quick. So we're going to spend a little bit more time doing a little something else in a minute. Alrighty, let's attach this, and I'm going to turn it sideways because I find it easier to line things up this way. So we're going to attach this centered on this left side that is the Z-fold part, and then this one we're going to attach on the right side. And maybe I'll even check and make sure that our patterns line up somewhat. So we're going to center that like so. And there we have. Now when we open up our card, we'll have all of this space for writing our message. So this card actually gives you a full standard size card amount of space to do your writing. Just it's in the horizontal. Okay. Now to add a little something to the front of this for decoration, we're going to be adding, and this is where I was getting my measurements mixed up. We're going to be adding another piece of Bluebird cardstock that is 4 inches by 2 inches. Okay, and a piece of the Mix-in pattern paper that is 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. So that's going to be centered on there. So let's go ahead and do that. So our 3 3/4 by 1 3/4 pattern paper is going right on top of our 4 inches by 2 inches Bluebird. Like so. Now this is going to get attached onto here, but we have quite a few things that we're going to do in between. So I'm going to set these aside, and we're going to bring in some cardstock that I actually forgot to cut. I'm just realizing now that I did not cut the white daisy that I needed for my stamping. So let's grab some scrap out of our drawer. Actually, is that white? Let's do a little check. Yep, that is white. Sorry. For half a minute there, it looked like French vanilla. So we're going to just give this a little snipperoo so it fits into our platform. This is why I like having a drawer full of white daisy scrap paper. I'm going to set that aside because we're going to need that. And we're going to stick this in here like so. Grab our stamp set, where I put it, over here. And we're going to do some stamping. Now, I don't need all of the whole of each of these little cowies. I only need parts of them. So I'm going to do a little bit of finagling with my stamping. And the reason I'm using my stamping platform, just walking my stamp off gently, is because in case I need to stamp it more than once. This will allow me the opportunity to do multiple stampings. All right. So we're going to stick that one down like that. It's hanging off the edge, but that's okay because I really only need his face. That's what I'm going for. And I'm going to be using my intense black ink for this stamping, not just because it's black. It's because I'm going to be doing some coloring with markers. And to color with the markers, you want to have the intense black because that will work the best using a medium on top. All right, that looks pretty good, but let's give it one more for good luck. Focusing just on the head here. And that looks good. Okay, let me grab my stamp chamois. We'll give that a wipe off because we're going to switch it out for a different stamp. That stamp chamois holder is a nice thing to have because when your chamois is wet and it's in that holder, if a piece of paper accidentally touches it, it's not getting your paper wet, which is awesome. There we go. And we also want to stamp, we're going to stamp all three of these little cows. But we really only want their heads. So again, we're going to walk this off. You always take your time when you're removing stamps so that things don't get out of hand. I'm going to swivel that around so we've got a new spot to stamp. And let's stamp this little guy here. I wonder if we can do both of these at the same time. No, I don't think so. I'll use that other piece of paper for the last one. And let's stamp this little guy. This one's got the flowers in his fur and his hair. I guess cows have hair. It's been a while since I cut a cow's hair, but I did. I have given many cows haircuts in the past. Yes, yes. I didn't even put my magnet back on there. Look at that. Just taking a risk. All right. So we're going to grab this other piece of paper. Maybe we will stick it down. Let's wash this off. Try and get some of that ink that I've blobbed everywhere. I have a tendency to overshoot my stamp when I'm stamping on the platform. Get a little ink here and there. Anybody else do that? Get inky all over your platform. Lots of ways to get it off. If you do it nice and quick, stamp chamois works. With the intense black, sometimes a little hand sanitizer can actually help get some of the ink off. Okay, let's get that little guy on there. There we go. Let's line it back up. It's a pretty new stamp. I haven't used it a lot, so it's got a little stickiness to it. All right, let's ink him up. Now, if you've taken a look at this stamp set before, you will notice that one cow has a cowboy hat on it. One cow has flowers in its hair, and one is wearing a scarf, which almost leads you to believe that these are different seasons of cows. But we're kind of put them all together and kind of pretend that this scarf is more like an aviator scarf or something, right? He's just sort of a cool dude, or she's a cool cat, and wears a fun little scarf for fashion, not for warmth. All right, let's scooch that out of the way. And we're going to do some coloring on these. Now, I've got some of my Tri-Blend markers here. We're going to start out with the red brown and the lightest color of the red brown. That's one thing I really like about these Tri-Blends, is that we have the 3 colors that we can play with. And this is just going to be an all-over coloring job with this particular strength of the color. We're just going to color everything. Oops, I got on his scarf. I don't want to color the scarf. Let's avoid the scarf. But we're going to color all the floofy fur like that. And we don't need to go right to the edge because we're not going to use all that, but we'll do a bit of it. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to switch to the mid of the red brown, and we're going to go where there's sort of shadowy things happening. So side of the face, in amongst all the floofy fur, kind of in around where the eyes would be, under the horn, anywhere that sort of looks like it would be in shadow, under the scarf, like that. There we go. Okay, and we're not doing, a fancy job of this. This is shading, and he's floofy. Now we'll put a little bit of extra dark in a few of the dark places. Just kind of draw little floofy lines here and there. Get a little bit under the scarf. Make it a little darker, like that. And we're not even going to blend. We're just going to leave it like that. Now we're going to bring in the pink, pale pink shades, and we're going to use the lightest of the pale pink shades, and we're just going to color the nose. We're going to keep our colors very simple on this cow, and I might even come in with the light again and just color over that nose so it's slightly less pinkish. So lift that up so you can see. It toned down that pink and made it more, still kind of cutesy, but a little more natural looking. Actually, not very many cows have pink noses, to be honest. Sometimes Holsteins have pink noses because they get sunburnt, but most brown cows have black noses or brown. Hey, Joanne, nice to see you're watching. But then we're going to bring in the True Blue. We're going to start with the lightest of the True Blue, and I'm going to spin here and just color in the scarf. I'm keeping my colors simple. I'm using brown, pink, and blue, and pretty much that is the colors for all 3 of these cows. We're going to jump to the mid, add some shadow under there, a little bit of shading on there, along there, just like that. Oops, trying to put the cap on where there's already a cap. And then the very darkest, we'll do some just right on the very edge. And we're going to, for this one, we're going to jump back to the light. And we're just going to kind of blend all those colors together. Make it a little bit less abrupt. Okay, so that was the True Blue. And then the last color, we're grabbing the brown gray. And we want the darkest. Darkest? Am I using the darkest? I don't remember now. Do I want the darkest? Let me see. Let's try the light. No, we want the darkest. And we're just going to color the horns. Just like that. Just to add some color. Like so. And that's it. Number 1 done. Actually, while we've got this out, let's color all their horns. There we go. And the last one. I find it interesting that they all have different shaped horns, but I think that's kind of the way it is with cow's horns. It's maybe like a bit like fingerprints, right? No two are the same. Now coming back in with the red brown. Red brown? Yes, we're going to start with the light. Let's color this guy in. We're going to go under his hat, color in his ears, and this is, again, this is an all over color, so we're just getting the color on there like that. And we're going to come down here a little bit, not too far, and we're only going to go part way down his back, just like that. And I think that's good. Okay, then we're going to come in with the mid of the red brown. We're going to do under his hat, in his ears, down this side of his face, her face, and we'll do wherever there's little shady things, we can kind of just scritchy scratch it around. Go under the chin where there's going to be some shadow, and there we go. And let's grab the dark. One thing when you're coloring things that are floofy, you can be a little more haphazard with the brush strokes or the line strokes or whatever you want to call it. There we go. And then let's bring back in the same pink. We're going to color the nose like so. Give it one more go over with the light red brown. And then we're going to use blue again for the hat. So we're going to give it a once over with the light. All the way around. And we're going to come in with the mid. We'll go around the brim. Give it a little bit of definition there. A little bit there. And sure, let's throw some dark in there too. Why not? And then we can go back and color it with the light to blend that all together. Like so. And he's done. She's done. That one's done. We're going to grab the red brown again. See, this is just repeating, and I think it's fun when you're using the same kind of, I don't know, you wouldn't really call it a character, but the same kind of image and on the same card. It's nice to have a consistency of color sometimes when you want to have a grouping of something. So again, we're just doing an all over coloring. This one we have to be a little more careful because there's some flowers in the top of her head here. Color over her nose. And come down, a little flyaway fluffy furs. And yeah, we don't have to go too far down. There we go. But we will color across the back here ways. Like that. That looks good. Very fancy coloring job I'm doing. Let's go to the mid. We're going to add some shadowy bits under all these flowers. Like that. A little bit down this side of the face. Under the chin. Like that. Like so. And on some of the floofers. And we'll switch to the dark. Do the same thing. Just a little bit smaller amount of extra dark going under those flowers. Along here. Under there. A little bit of floofers. Ta-da! And then, of course, our pink coming in for the nose. Like that. Light one more time. Tone that pink down. And then, whoops, throwing it right across my table. We're going to come in with the blue again. and color in the flowers. Like that. There's just 4 little flowers here. And then there's some leaves. So that's where we're going to have a little bit of a departure because we are going to color some of those leaves. Just adding a little bit of darker color around the centers of those flowers, and that's good. But I'm going to come in with the dull green and the light color of the dull green and add just a little bit of green to those leaves. And some of them I think I colored with blue, but that's okay. We'll just add a little bit of green on top just to say that there is a little bit. There we go. All done. We can put our markers aside. And we're going to bring in our scissors. I'm trying to pick which ones I want. And we're going to do some fussy cutting. So let's rough cut these guys out first. Remember how I said that Z fold is such a nice, quick, easy card? That way you have lots of time to spend doing some extra embellishing, right? You can spend a little bit more time on that. So let's do our rough cut like so. And then we're going to fussy cut. So we're just going to do our paper pivoting just like we normally would. We're going to do a little bit of extra maneuvering with these. There we go. Around, up and over, like so. And sorry to let you in on this, but we're going to actually fussy cut these twice. You will see why in a minute. Now, I could do it just once, but we're going to do it twice. Because I just love it so much. No, that's not quite the reason. But now what I want to do with this is I want to actually come in right under this scarf. Right here on this side. I'm going to come right up into this little nook where it's knotted. And then I'm going to come back down like that. Okay, and so to make it look a little bit more even, I'm going to do it right on the line all the way around. I'm going to chop up that little bit of fur that's in between, and then I'm going to come out like this and then kind of join back up with that halo. So if you look at that now, you will see I've taken off the white halo from this part of the scarf and I've sort of followed the line. So we're doing a little bit of half and half on that, and you will see why. It'll make sense. Don't worry, it will make sense in the end. When you're doing floofy things, of course, you can just kind of wiggle your paper back and forth like this to get some jaggedy looking edges around the horn. Like that, around the hat. And all the way around. Now this guy, we don't need all of this, so we'll just kind of chop to the edge. We'll see what we can trim off later. And then this one, we'll start here, but some of this is gonna say goodbye. That's okay. We don't need all of it to look fun and pretty and cute. Around the florals. I'm not going to get too crazy because, like I said, we are going to fussy cut this again. Oh my goodness. If one round of fussy cutting wasn't enough, we're going to do 2. How's everybody doing out there? You doing okay? You're seeing everything okay? I can't check the video without reaching over and scrolling up, which is hard to do when you're fussy cutting. So there we go. We've got our 3 little cows, and we're going to bring back in this piece that's going to go across our card like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of layer up our cows. So we're going to have this little cow, and I know she's got her head tilted. We're going to actually kind of straighten her out a bit. And we're going to tuck her under here like this. Okay, so she's just kind of peeking up over the edge. Then we're going to take this guy and we're going to tuck him in behind here as well. And he's just going to kind of be hanging out there like that. Now don't worry about all this. It's going to get covered. You'll see here in a second. Then this last little guy, remember we cut right up into that nook. The part of his body is going to get tucked in behind, and then the scarf is going to hang out the front like that. And look at those three. Aren't they so cute? Now, this is bothering me. I didn't do such a hot job with this bit of trimming. I just kind of went in a straight line, and I'm a crazy person, so I need to fix it. There we go. Okay, so to get those all attached, what we're going to do is flip this over and add a piece of adhesive back here. Like that. We're going to remove these ones. And this is where we need to be a little bit careful because we need to make sure that it lines up with our card. But we also don't want to stick it down. So I'm going to keep it kind of propped up. And we're going to tuck this little guy or little gal in behind and stick the adhesive to that. Okay, then we're going to bring this one in and make sure that it lines up. It's not hanging too far over. We're going to stick the adhesive to that, and then we'll bring in, you know what, I also am kind of wanting to fix a little bit here. Give them a little more definition. And then we're going to tuck this one in like so. I'm just gonna scooch him over to the left a bit. I'm just gonna keep saying him, even though I know these are probably hers. The one that's sideways has an udder, so you know. And tuck it on like that. Isn't that so cute? Now, I want to show you a little bit of a trick with this. So if I flip this open, I'm not going to stick it down. We've got paper, we've got marker. That doesn't look so hot. So this is the little trick that I want to show you. We're going to take this. We're going to add a bit more adhesive where we covered it all up there. We're going to peel that off. We're also going to add some liquid glue, to the top of these cows. So I've got my liquid glue. We're going to add some of that around here so we can stick them down like so. The lid back on that. And then we're going to grab some white daisy. And I've even got a scrap piece of paper here. So this is how we use up our scraps. I'm going to grab this. We're going to line it up with a straight edge. And we're going to glue it down. So you can see now where this second round of fussy cutting is going to come from. But by doing this, we are going to allow ourselves to have a nice background. And that little horn there is sticking up, which isn't bad because it gives texture. But I kind of want it stuck down. I usually don't mind if things lift like that. And I'm not going to mind that the scarf is lifting at all. But because this has to be kind of fussy cut, I'm going to make sure that those are all stuck down. Now I'm going to do a straight cut right along there. And then I'm going to do my rough cut around all these guys. Has anybody ever done something like this before? Where they covered the back of a panel? See, now it looks nice and clean on the back. However, it's not the right shape. we want the shape to match what is stamped. So we're just going to follow where we fussy cut before. And if you happen to cut into what you cut before, it's okay because we left that buffer, that little halo. Now, there could be an easier way of doing this. If you wanted to mask and stamp your cows and fussy cut it all at once, but you would still end up with the marker coming through to the backside. And on the inside of your card, you don't necessarily want to see those marker bits coming through because they never come through evenly. They always come through looking a bit like a dog's breakfast. So we're just going to follow around, fussy cut that. This is another way you could even use this particular piece as an embellishment for a layout. You could use this as an embellishment for something like this on, say, a bookmark, as a tag. And so you would use this same technique of gluing a piece on at the end, but you could fussy cut around it to have that fun textural shape of the tops of the cows' heads, which I think is super cute. And it's going to look so cute on the card if I do say so myself, because I made one before and it did look cute. Now, because I'm me, I'm also going to grab my X-Acto blade because there's a gap here in between these cows and their horns where I can fussy cut out this background white daisy. You might look at that and say there's no way, but it's not going to fly for me to leave it there. My brain will tell me, no, you must change that. So there we go. We've got that. We've got our card base here. Now we need to do a little stamping on this, and I could have done this before I even put this paper on, which is kind of what I intended to do. But I did it the wrong way the first time I did this, so I might as well do it the wrong way the second time. So we're going to do the stamping now. I'm just going to carefully walk this little cow off. And I'm going to grab from the stamp set the one here that says Legendary. I'm going to walk that off. And we're going to line all these beautiful cows up here. I'm going to kind of use the measurements in case anything happens. Line that up, stamp that down, or magnet that down. Get that right in the center of that mix-in paper. Sorry, I'm way down at the bottom of the screen. Right in the center of that mix-in pattern paper. Pick it up with the lid. There we go, and hopefully that doesn't move, because I don't have a straight edge to butt up against because all those lovely cows are there. And we'll ink this up, and I probably will stamp it 2, maybe 3 times. So let's get that on there. Legendary, I like, especially because it's going over a pattern. I want to get it nice and dark. It would be even fun if it was black heat embossing. That would be lovely, but this will be good. 3rd time's the charm. Just to make sure it's nice and dark. I do the same thing when I do something like a penguin, where I want it to be really dark. So there we go. We've got our Legendary. What do we think? Isn't that super cute? And then we're going to stick it on our card, but we need to make sure that we center it. We don't want the horns going up above, so it won't fit in to our envelope. So what we're going to do now is we're going to apply adhesive to this side. We're not going to go past that center line. Like that. And hopefully I didn't just get black ink everywhere. Thank goodness the intense black ink dries super quick, because I'm just pushing all over my card with it. There we go. Okay. Now let's confirm. Yes, we've got it opening the right way. We're going to line it up from side to side. A little bit up from the bottom. There we go. Stick that down. I think that is so cute with those little cows sticking up. And now from the back side, other than that fingerprint that I got from my dirty fingers, nice and clean, crisp white, except for the fingerprint. That just means it was handmade just for you. The blue really makes it pop. It sure does. And then I'm going to bring in my blue dots. And I'm going to use these little blue stars from the blue dots, because it's legendary, right? We can have stars when something is legendary. Let's grab the largest one, and we'll stick that down there. And then a medium one. We're just going to add a little bit of bling onto our card. And there. And I put those two on that side and one over here because we've got this scarf thing going on. So having two of the stars on this side helps it to kind of stay a bit balanced. So let's take a look. There we go. We've got our legendary card all created. We started out with our white daisy cardstock for our base, and then added in that mix-in in the beautiful ballerina color, which is just nice and soft and goes lovely with their little pinkish noses. We kept the colors simple to the brown and the blue and a tiny little bit of green along with the pink. Then, of course, adding in that Bluebird to make everything pop. I love that their accessories are all the same color. And then, of course, we've got this beautiful spot in the center to write a nice big message. And I think that is just a really fun card. So again, a shout out to the Instagram post by Gina K Designs that had a card similar to this. It was a Christmas card. And I thought it was just super cute having something kind of popping up behind this panel in the front. And I think it's just so fun. Even though these animals are in different poses and they are even different sizes. This one's sort of the closest, the middle, and then this is the farthest away. When you layer them up like this, it really works. And I hope you feel inspired to make a horizontal Z-fold card of your own. And if you do, be sure to take a photo of it and pop it in the comments on the Facebook page where I post the photos of this card. And have a wonderful evening. We will see you again soon. Toodaloo. Bye-bye.